Hello my dear day owls and night monkeys, good morning and or evening and welcome back to another video. I am so happy to have you all here. No animated intro for today's video, mainly because I'm still working on a longer Elden Ring animation, at least longer for the type of animations I do, and because I wanted to expand on my repertoire of video essay type videos. I will not stop with the animated intros, but I also want to be able to make lower effort content in between of my higher effort videos. With that explained, let us move on to the actual topic of this video. Culture War! The Culture War is a made-up concept by weird people on the internet that pretend that somehow the existence of gay people, trans people, non-binary people, and everyone doesn't conform to their worldview is somehow an attack on them personally. Depending on who you ask, atheists, Muslims, Jews, and in general non-white people may also somehow be a part of that. Point being, it's stupid. It's stupid to get mad at people that just exists in ways that are different to the status quo, because just their existence alone does in no way impact your life or in fact impact anyone else's outside of the affected people themselves. And most people would probably see that hatred towards that is stupid. I mean, there's the occasional religious extremist out there that point blank says they want to see you dead in hell because you are not a Christian, but those people are more than often not worth anyone's time. Which is why they also aren't worth my time in this video. No, I want to focus on a different group of people. Those that want to push a culture war narrative, but themselves know that the entire concept is stupid. They do this, for example, by trying to paint the people that they don't like as the ones that are trying to push some evil cultural agenda. I will elaborate on this by example. The person that this video is about. Isaac Butterfield. Ooh. He's an Australian YouTuber and comedian who sees himself as a speaker for the quote-unquote silent majority, which in his case is just everyone that agrees with him, no matter if they are outspoken about their opinions or actually silent. And you know what? I actually used to watch Isaac. Back when I was a small internet boy that for some reason thought that conservatism is the greatest thing ever. Luckily, since then, I actually grew the fuck up and changed my view of the world to a now better and more informed one. Isaac didn't. Before I started to write the script right now, I actually wanted to talk about a bunch of different people, but when I looked at this Australian's YouTube channel, I very quickly noticed something. He is still making the exact same videos as he did 5 years ago. It's all about the evil of cyclists and vegans and how feminists are the spawn of Satan and whatnot. So, to make amends for my past self's stupid decision to watch this, I will focus on this bearded internet man and how he, as a centrist, is somehow a real big fan of everything that is to the right of politics. All the while, I will try and show how, in his attempt to quench the evil left-wing communist Stalinist propagandist culture warriors, he himself is simply pushing some weird right-wing babbling. Alright, so the video I think is a good example to make my point with is this one. Dad goes to court over, quote, non-binary, unquote, 4-year-old. Doesn't that sound exciting? In this video, Isaac covers a story about a young boy in California who was living with his divorced mother, who apparently tried to raise him as a non-binary against his will, all the while trying to keep the father away from the child. The father and mother had a legal battle over the custody for the past 4 years, up until this year's summer's 2024, after which the father gained full custody of the now 7-year-old Sawyer. I wanted to explain the subject of this video beforehand, so that I didn't have to explain along the way, and I can rather focus on what I think Isaac did/said that I think is stupid. Because he didn't just report on this story that featured a father getting his child away from an allegedly abusive mother. No, that would have been too easy. And because gender and gender identity are somewhat part of the story, it makes it prime material to be used as a disguise to push bigotry. but I have waffled enough, so let's actually look at what Monsieur Butterfield has to say.
Without a doubt, right now in our history, it's the most important time for gender. Gender has never mattered more, particularly in one place, the family court system.
Interesting start. Now, I don't have a lot to say just yet, but to skip over the first part of the video, he talks about how family court is often favored towards mothers and tends to look at fathers rather unfavorably, which sadly is actually still often the case. So I don't have any large agreements with this yet, outside of the weird mention of gender and that picture he showed that depicts the signs of multiple gender identities when he specifically talked about fathers that, I presume at least, are male in his mind. But let's see where he takes this.
In 2019, men accounted for 2,502 of the total 3,318 registered S-word deaths in Australia. That's a very high percentage. If you go to the US in 2022, men died by S-word 3.85 times more than women. And white males accounted for 68, nearly 70% of all of those deaths in 2022. And it is without a doubt the family court system and how men are treated poorly in that system has a role to play in all of that.
Now, this is a quite serious topic that Isaac brings up here, which is why I am also disappointed that, at least in my opinion, he doesn't really do it justice. Male suicide rates have been historically a lot higher than that of women, which is why that issue is a very important one to discuss. But that also makes me think that Isaac very much did injustice here by boiling it down to just the family court system. Like, don't get me wrong, I am absolutely sure that getting treated unfairly as a father that loves their child must hurt tremendously. And I would probably not able to even empathize with that because I've never felt that pain before. And I also don't doubt that there have been too many people that have committed suicide because of that. However, the entire issue is a lot more complex now, isn't it? The reasons for male suicide rates are complex and deeply rooted in our society. For example, men being conditioned to bottle up feelings and to man up, or how it is often expected for the man in a relationship to be the breadwinner and only provider, which not only keeps the father away from actively raising and interacting with their child, but also puts a lot of stress on them as they are the one and only financial pillar for their loved ones. I could probably do more research and go on for hours about the issues that plague our society and lead to high suicide rates, and what possible solutions to those issues exist, but that is not the topic of this video. And the reason I have brabbled on about this segment of Isaac's video is because I think this makes the way Isaac will frame the upcoming topics in his video a lot more disgusting than just being insensitive. Because let's not forget, this video is about a news story. So let's see what Isaac says next.
Shocked me so much. It really did, honestly. A Californian dad has been granted full custody of a 4-year-old son after the boy's mother tried to raise that child non-binary. Now, what's so crazy about that? Well, number one, a dad has won. But number two, a dad has won that case in California, the most progressive, the most woke state in America. That is absolutely crazy.
Now, this might just be me, but I think it's weird to go from male suicide rates and the unfairness of the family court system to putting focus on OMG, California, the woke state did something unwoke? Maybe I'm just a liberal snowflake here, but shifting focus to wokeness while in the same breath mentioning a real issue is just kinda jerk behavior.
I cannot believe that state would go against gender ideology.
And as if to hammer my point home, he by word mentions the evil and dastardly gender ideology, which I think is just a little shitty, mate. He could have just celebrated a dad getting his child to live with him after winning against an apparently abusive mother. But no, we have to somehow link that to the evils of those commie bastards that want us all to use grubble and bibble as pronouns. I would get more into why gender ideology isn't a real thing, but Isaac himself doesn't really explain it. He expects his viewers to already associate that term with something bad and evil, even though it is never directly explained. But of course, throughout the video, it becomes obvious what he means by it, so I will bring that up as we go.
The mother also apparently forced the baby to wear dresses and makeup.
If that did happen, then I, without a doubt, condemn this mother. You shouldn't force your child into any gender identity. You should let them dress and act in a way that they have chosen themselves and are comfortable and safe in. And I am sure Isaac agrees with me here, don't ya?
Now, here is the question on top of all of that. The paper here says it was forced. Well, how many other children out there have you seen, perhaps boys, wearing dresses and makeup? That happens. Was that forced by the parent? Are we allowed to say that? I'm not going to say that, because I'm probably not allowed to say that.
Ah, apparently not. Now, Isaac, you can't just come out and say that all these children were forced into this way of dressing. But first of all, that is just an assumption on your part, and second of all, a very weak one at that, considering all these children are looking fucking happy! Leave it to the quote-unquote centrists to tell that smiling children portray an unwanted forced behavior. Look at these disgusting and colorful happy outfits these children are wearing! Disgraceful! I mean, I know it's hard to grasp, but there isn't a gene in your body that tells you that you should wear a skirt or not. After all, stupid me here thought that children should dress the way they want. And before anyone with a degree in comment section contrarianism comes along and tells me that parents shouldn't let children wear inappropriate clothes, please tell me what is inappropriate about a skirt, that a boy can't wear them but we let little girls run around them all the time. Because I have seen people make the case that skirts are too revealing to be worn by boys. So I wonder, do these people just want to see little girls and what they think is revealing clothing? I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know. Also, in the two pictures where you can see a child wearing a dress that is above the knees, you can see that they're also wearing pants underneath. So, again, the fuck's your problem, mate?
It's definitely a pretty wonderful feeling to fight for something so hard and actually achieve it, he told the Daily Signal. Now, the Daily Signal is a conservative, right-leaning publication, apparently. Now, I know some people, when you bring up that they're a right-leaning publication, they immediately switch off. They stop listening. I understand what you're doing, and I understand probably why you think you're doing that. But also, how many progressive left-leaning news organisations do you listen to on a daily basis? A lot, right? CNN, MSNBC, pretty much everyone of the mainstream media. They're all left-leaning. So wouldn't it be a bit ridiculous to hear that something's right-leaning and then not listen to it, knowing that all of the media outlets have a strong political bias?
Okay, so there isn't really anything for me to go in here. Isaac kinda just rambles about how news outlets are politically biased. Congratulations on that, Isaac. You discovered that humans are biased. Huzzah! Anyway, I just wanted to mention that first, conservative or right-leaning outlets have shown themselves more than often to look at LGBTQ issues in bad faith, and considering that Isaac himself is putting a lot of focus on the non-binary part for some reason, I think anyone with more than 2 brain cells can see why probably some people would be less willing to listen to conservative media on certain points. And secondly, why the fuck is Fox News grouped in with CNN and CNBC? When Isaac is talking about the left-wing political news stations, I'm pretty sure you can't get any more racistly right-wing than Fox News. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. I am a German, I don't look at any of these outlets. I look at the superior German news, which I call superior simply because they are what I look at. Please don't research the reliability of the biggest German news station. I am currently basking in my European superiorness and I do not wish to be disturbed.
So anyway, we're going to listen to the story, because if you don't listen to it because it's right-leaning, you're a fucking biased piece of shit.
Listening to conservative media while not being conservative or vice versa doesn't mean you don't have biases. Everyone will always have biases no matter what they read. Sorry, continue.
And this is him alleging that she has mental health problems. She may not. And maybe the reason she broke up with him was because he was a piece of shit. We don't know. This is one side of the story.
I actually do have to give props where props is due. Isaac is very correct in pointing out that we currently only know the father's perspective, which means that we don't know if the father is leaving out any details or parts of the story. Kudos to you, Butterfield. Apart from that, I just want to sum up what I skipped over. I cut this part down a bit, but in summary, Isaac was looking at the GoFundMe page set up by the father of the child in question, and he is currently reading aloud the story that is told on that page. I will cut back in at a part where I have something to say about, but just to be as fair as possible, I will also continue to sum up parts that I skipped over, just so people don't get the wrong idea on what Isaac said in this video. I mean, you can also just watch this video and then see I didn't cut anything out of context, but I'm just saying.
However, as his son got older, it all changed. His mother, who subsequently became a lesbian, don't you hate it, and is now non-binary, good grief, is also raising Sawyer as non-binary. She calls him they and puts him in dresses. Oh, that's horrible, not girls' diapers. That's the worst part.
I know this is a joke that he made here, but I actually don't know what the hell girls' diapers are. Aren't diapers universally used for just babies in general? Whatever, I'm not a diaperologist. Yeah, that sounds about right. Anyway, I'm mainly chiming in here to say that I just skipped over 2 minutes of his video where he, again, very honestly, says that we don't know why the mother left the father and that especially in the last weeks of a pregnancy, the person carrying out the baby needs the full support of the other parent. Which I have nothing to argue over except for one weird mention of how this happened in San Francisco. I think he wanted to imply that San Fran is like this evil communist woke buzzword and how impressive it is that something good happened there for once. Let me just show you.
Shortly after, I moved to the Bay Area. Oh, wow, this is in San Francisco. Just to be with him and was granted 50-50 custody. Wow, in San Fran. That's full on.
So yeah, I don't know what he thinks San Francisco is like. I mean, I myself have never been, but the important part here is that Isaac apparently has a hard time suppressing his urge to keep insinuating how evil these East Coast liberals are. I think it's weird, but whatever. It's West Coast. It's fucking West Coast. Why did I say East Coast? I know, I'm a European. I know a world map. God damn it.
And makeup. How good. She threw Sawyer a girly-themed party for his second birthday. How embarrassing. That's a great way to confuse your children. My wife and I know a couple that did this. They gave their son, for his second birthday, a pink cake. Fucking, we know what you're trying to do. Fuck off.
Wait. Wait a second. I think Isaac hasn't quite understood how colors work. Now, I haven't been to that birthday party you mentioned, but a pink cake is now a way for parents to push something, apparently. I mean, I know he is trying to say here that because those parents gave their child a pink cake, they're trying to fill the child's brain with gender ideology, but have you also thought about the possible situation that the cake was pink because a lot of sweets are often shown to be pink? Or maybe, and this is just a big-ass maybe, the child likes the color pink? No, you're a boy! Take that blue cake, you fiend! Isaac very clearly does not understand that colors are not gendered in any way. They are colors. And I think it can be actually argued here that Isaac himself is inserting political beliefs and his own, what he would probably call, agenda. And I think I speak for everyone here when I say that just let the child have a pink birthday cake. Stop pushing your own ideology on that poor kid. Apart from that, I feel the need to mention that if the mother actually did these things against the child's will and organizing a birthday party in a way that made the child unhappy, that is bad. I think a child should itself decide what it wants for a birthday party. But that also includes the color of the cake. Isn't that right, Isaac? You big dumb dog!
Mother tells him he is both a boy and a girl, but Sawyer is fully aware he is a boy.
Huzzah! A child knows its own identity and gender even though allegedly something else is pushed onto him? Almost like it's not possible to push an identity on a child that itself doesn't actually want? How curious! Almost like any person themselves would know best what they are.
Obviously, this mother has, and this is just my opinion, she has become non-binary. She's totally changed her entire existence. Who knows what rabbit hole she's gone down on TikTok and Instagram, and she's completely different, completely changed, and now she's putting that onto her child, potentially. Or maybe the child has always been that way. We're not quite sure.
I am not going to bother explaining how a person doesn't just become non-binary or lesbian. from watching some TikToks or scrolling through Instagram, because I know Isaac doesn't care. I mean, Isaac, come on. You had all this song and dance about how we don't know the full story because we only have the father's perspective, but now you are absolutely 100% sure that the mother did a 180 personality-wise? How do you know that she didn't always feel the way she did, but only started to express that openly now? Apparently you're quite sure that this woman you don't know anything about completely changed her character. I'm sure you have good reasons to believe that and are not just following your biased and negative view towards the LGBTQ community. I am sure. Apart all that, I want to address the way he talked about the problems this brings to the child. Now, if the mother forced a certain gender identity on their child, then that is wrong. I will stop repeating myself now, I trust that you have understood me. But, Isaac, didn't you just read a moment ago how the father wrote that the child always knew he was a boy? If that's the case, the problem here is not that the child gets confused about what it is, but rather that it gets upset, sad, and hurt that his mother doesn't accept him for who he really is. Now, where have I heard that one before?
And you got to think, how does that affect a child growing up? Will the child become more bullied because of it? Will they not make as many friends? Will that affect them as they grow up? Will they struggle in relationships? Will they be in a different... This can affect a child for the rest of their lives, and that's why you need to be very, very careful with the shit that you shove down your child's fucking throat.
I agree, Isaac. You shouldn't shove anything down any child's throat. They know themselves what they are, and parents should support that no matter how they feel about it. Okay, so I hope it has become obvious how ironic it is what Isaac is getting mad about here. Because in his attempt to try and basically slander all the LGBTQ community as people who want to shove ideology down children's throats, he has quite directly described what we evil internet lefties actually want. If you actually do any competent research at all on this topic, you would very quickly learn that people on the left actually are the ones calling for children to be able to have the freedom to choose who they really are. If you just listen to any story of basically any trans person out there, I'd reckon most will tell you that they felt the way they do since they were children. And of course it's easy to stamp that off as just manipulate children whose parents group them into becoming trans. But if that's the case, how can it be that there are also trans people out there that come from transphobic families? Again, do any research on the subject at all, and you will hear stories. But Isaac doesn't care. You don't care, Isaac, do you? Because if you take a step back, I think it's easy to see who is trying to politicize a non-political topic and start some weird culture war talking point, and who is actually looking out for the well-being of children. To sum it up, I want the child to decide what color its birthday cake has. I want that child to decide what kind of birthday it celebrates. I want that child to decide what hobbies it has. I want that child to decide what clothes it wants to wear. I want the child to decide what it identifies itself as that makes it the most happy. Most of those Isaac probably decries as woke don't want colors to have genders. A boy can like pink, a girl can like blue. We are not the ones assigning gender to random objects or concepts. You are, Isaac. I don't believe you do this on purpose. I do think you could be misguided, Isaac. And all I can say is, listen to the minorities you talk about. Actually look at the stories from people that have experiences that you aren't quite able to emphasize with. Actually look at the research. And this goes to everyone who thinks it's like Isaac, who just happens to see this. But now I have bribbled enough. Let's finish this here video so I can wrap up this video with some other examples.
Kingsley then presented 8 hours of police body camera footage, 800 pages of documentary evidence, psychological studies showing Sawyer's health, safety and well-being were being jeopardized by his mother, her mental health problems and political ideology.
I didn't plan on talking about this, but just because I know people would otherwise point it out, no, I don't see this mother, should she have actually done all the things claimed here, as an accurate representation of the movement I described 20 seconds ago. Okay, I am not defending this person here, just I don't see some comment section contrarian aficionados telling me I am evil here. Fuck you!
The fuck? I've been to San Fran. None of this surprises me. It's a left-wing hellhole. I'll never go back. It's fucking awful.
Ah, yes, people protesting police violence. This commie scum is everywhere nowadays. And I should know, I watch someone called H-Bomber Guy sometimes, and the internet tells me he is one of those internet Stalinists. I'm getting caught up here, I'm trying to end this segment.
But I am absolutely shocked that a Californian court would rule against gender ideology. I'm just stunned that that would happen in California. It just shocks me.
And here we go again with this gender ideology stuff. I mean, I will end the segment here, but do I still need to address this? With this statement, Isaac obviously is just saying that he thinks everyone who sees gender as a question of identity and who doesn't force their child into the gender they were assigned at birth as pushing this evil ideology. And I think it is disgusting to take an apparently mentally ill person that forced their child into an identity and then basically say, hey, everyone I consider to be left is like this. That is just ludicrous to say that, especially if people like Catholic priests exist out there. Anyway, I'm just gonna end this segment on the previously asked question. Isaac, who thinks a boy can't have a pink birthday cake, and who thinks a boy can have any birthday color cake any damn way he pleases? And then ask who's actually pushing an agenda. Okay, so after taking that video out thoroughly, I wanted to just look at some other videos of his just to show how this is not a singular occurrence in which he strawmanned his way into a quote-unquote culture war talking point. It's a pattern that can be seen often with these guys. And I want to show that in a lot of cases it might not even be worth it to engage with these peeps, even though I'm doing it right now. Don't take me as an example. Anyway, let's take a short peek at this not-so-dandy video here. Female athlete paralyzed by trans opponent. Oh boy. For those that don't know, this video is mostly about Iman Khalif, the Algerian boxer that won in women's boxing at the Olympic Games. But according to weirdos on the internet, she shouldn't have been allowed to participate. Isaac frames it like this.
This happened at last year's World Championship, governed by the International Boxing Association, the IBA. The president, Umar Kremlev, claimed that 2 women had taken chromosome tests that came back as XY. And the 2 women in question are Imam Kalev of Algeria and Lin Wu.
Ah, yes, the famous gender test that you need to take to confirm your gender. Isaac, I thought it was very simple to know what person's gender is. I'd reckon you would only say it only counts whatever's between your legs. Whatever. Isaac, of course, doesn't really care for this. Iman Khalif and Yu Ting apparently have XY chromosomes, and this is also apparently a huge game changer. I'm sure we can trust Isaac on this. You seem like a respected biologist. Of course, it doesn't matter what chromosomes you have, but to these people, those that really want to put humans in 2 very strict boxes, this presents a problem. Because it can't just be that being a man or a woman is not just simply decided by what chromosomes you have. Our definitions! How are we now supposed to know who belongs in the kitchen and who doesn't? Jokes aside, it is really disgusting to now discuss the gender of a person publicly because they have a testosterone level that is apparently too high for that of a woman for some people's taste. I might add, that never is a conversation in men's sports. I have never heard anyone say this man has too high of a testosterone. But I don't know, apparently it's fine for men to have up onto unlimited testosterone, but women are just not allowed to. I will not question that any further. Anyway, this isn't even a transgender issue, because Iman Khalif has always lived as a girl and woman. She grew up in an Algerian village. Do you really think she had the resources and support of her surroundings to be trans? I don't think so, bucko. But again, this doesn't matter to Isaac, because he and many others are just grasping at whatever straws they can to find some way to turn this woman winning at the Olympics into some weird larger political issue.
So all of this came to light after an Italian boxer quit during her fight after like 46 seconds, after she was punched too hard, apparently, by someone she believes to be male.
The Italian woman is also a boxer at the Olympics. Stop crying about getting hit too hard. I mean, that's your job! Oh man, I shouldn't say that. That's just mean. Anyway, I had to say that there. Sorry.
About 1.7 people who are born worldwide are intersex. That's not that many people. And then to consider that out of that world population, I wrote it down, it's 1 in 500,000 people, or 0.0000017% of the world population would ever make it to the Olympics. So to take that stat and think about 1.7% of 0.0001%, you know what I'm saying? It's a fucking small number, all right? This is something we don't normally have to worry about. But it is important that we talk about the fact that men shouldn't box women.
Okay, so last thing before I move on, this is just so thinly disguised bullshit. Yes, Isaac is correct in pointing out that intersex people are a small minority among humanity, but then going on to say that we need to have this discussion because men shouldn't fight women, even though Iman Khalif is a woman, just shows that she isn't really in Isaac's eyes. I don't really want to do this anymore, talking about gender while listening to these idiots that think they ate the truth of a shovel without ever having actually researched the issue. Look, if you even care to learn anything about what gender, sex and identity are, just watch this video by Forrest Valkai. He is an actual evolutionary biologist and he explains these various topics much better and without being annoyed at some dumb Australian. And yes, Isaac, this entire discussion is much more complicated and intricate than just men no compete, women cause chromosomes. And I don't even claim to know everything about this or what the right answer is, because I did enough research to know that there is probably no one clean answer. Maybe do the same, Butterface. But, because your buddy I really showed you with that one. Anyway. What's the next video? It's, wait, another one about transgender people? No, please. Okay, I am joking. I just brought this video up because I think it's funny how intricate Isaac describes a penis here.
I understand where they're coming from. I am a heterosexual man. If I found out someone I found really attractive was actually, they used to be a man, used to have a penis, I would be, it's like, you know, it's like eating a nice piece of fish and then finding in that fish that it's got a big old bone in it and it gets caught in your throat over and over again and keeps getting caught in your throat and then spurts little bits of fish gravy down your throat. That's exactly what it's like.
Why do people rather make bigoted videos on the internet instead of going to therapy and accepting their sexuality? Because I must say that the description, or rather that metaphor for male genitalia really, well, it's a vivid one, I'll leave it at that. Okay, I don't have much more willpower to deal with this, so I just want to show how blatantly stupid this one is.
I know that Trump got in a lot of trouble just, last week when he said that Kamala apparently only just came out as black. But if you go back to 2016, that is, well, she wasn't black then, she was Indian.
Our collective community, and there needs to be outreach and inclusion.
And certainly you could become the first Indian senator in U.S. history, which would be quite an accomplishment.
Knock wood.
And now she's black. I mean, you know, I know a lot of people don't like Trump, but having a crack at him, being angry at him for saying that, he's just being accurate.
Yep, Donald Trump is now accurate in saying Kamala Harris came out as black with the stellar reasoning of she also sees herself as Indian. You just can't make this shit up. You know you can be two things at once, right, Isaac? Being black and being Indian isn't really something that is mutually exclusive. I mean, what is next? Obama wasn't black because he was born in Hawaii and his mother was white? Yeah, actually Obama came out as black, but in reality he's a white boy from Hawaii. Or maybe he's actually Kenyan because his dad was born in British Kenya? But I'm sure Isaac wouldn't call Obama not black. Unless, of course, he does see him as not black. In that case, I don't think I need to bring any argument here. I did want to also talk about this video right here. England has fallen. But to be honest, I can't really be bothered anymore. I did skim over it, and in it, he basically brought the point of open borders bad because evil people come here. I mean, he was also spineless in it because he basically said that not everyone is bad that is an immigrant, but then he only mentions immigrants that committed crimes. I don't think I need to say more. I mean, I did do a bunch of research on the topic of immigration. I looked at, for example, stats of my own country of Germany, and I had this long rant planned out in which I showed how actually the topic of migrant crime is much more nuanced and it's actually more about class disparage and a lot more about simply poorer people being more likely to commit crime, which a lot of migrants are. Or also statistics show that people that came here in 2015-16 are now in some cases even more likely to have jobs than natives, which took some time because it takes time to integrate into a society. Or also that a lot of countries would shrink if not for immigration, the people they bring and the jobs they fill. Apart from all that, I probably would have also mentioned that about some ethical concerns about sending people back to war-torn countries because they stole something from a convenience store. But I guess you can also just simplify it like Isaac did and say good people stay, bad people go, without ever classifying what is a good and what is a bad person. Also, I just thought of this, but even if we would have immigrants here that were murderers, or like that murdered someone here, wouldn't it still be the right thing to do to just like keep them in our prisons for like the rest of their lives instead of sending them back to maybe a country that couldn't prosecute them? Because if we sent them back, they might kill more innocent people there. I don't know. That's probably just my evil socialist Stalinist brainworm speaking, but Okay, this video is now already way too long, so I will start to end it with Isaac getting way too mad about pronouns.
If you look like me and you use he, him in your Instagram bio, you're a wanker. Honestly, you virtue signaling fuck. We get the point that you're trying to appear woke to everybody you work with, but we understand if you've had 3 children, you've got long hair, you've got tits, that you're a woman. We don't need she, her in your fucking bio. Fuck you to the moon.
It's just words, Isaac. Calm down, for real. I know it's a joke, but he's made the same joke for the last 5 years, and at some point it's not funny anymore. Now to get to a conclusion. Looking at Isaac's channel once again, I can't help but notice he's talking about the same things over and over again. It shows how he doesn't really care, because he also never brings any new points to the table. Which I know because he said the exact same things he does now back in 2018 or whenever I watched him. He could educate himself on any of these topics, but he obviously doesn't want to. Anyway, it's probably easier to just say the same things over and over again, because in his fanbase, it breeds a sense of urgency or importance on these issues. Their favorite YouTuber keeps mentioning them, so I guess it's really a giant problem for the whole world. In the end, it also doesn't really matter, because none of his followers will ever get their mind changed from me saying my opinion. Not to mention Isaac definitely won't as well. But what I wanted to show with this video is that it's also not necessarily worth arguing with these people. Which I know is ironic, because that is basically what I did. But what I mean is that these people will make a culture war talking point out of everything they don't like, and they go into it not planning on having their mind changed or influenced. They believe they are completely right on everything, and everyone is out to get them for saying the truth. I mean, do you really think no one else ever called Isaac out for his bullshit? A lot of people have, but Isaac never changed anything about anything he believes or expresses. He just goes on to say how triggered these snowflakes are, and then throws playground insults by saying they have armpit hair. Yeah, he really hates that for some reason. Anyway, my main point I'm trying to get to is that these people are wrong. So don't let them take over the narrative and politicize things that are not actually political. Like what color a birthday cake has. For argument's sake, Isaac, let the boy have a pink cake. What is wrong with you? Okay, that speech actually gave me some energy. I am even seeing a juicy video about trap vibes here, so let's... No! Enough! I don't have the willpower for this. But I can recommend other videos. Like this one by Trolley Bolly, which was very entertaining to watch and also made me want to do a, let's say, more controversial video as well. Which is the one you're watching right now. Also, they got a very intelligent sounding voice. Yes. And of course, I still recommend you watch the video by Forrest Valkai. That is a really good watch to actually learn about gender, sex, and sensibility. Ah, see what I did there. Okay, I think I have said more than enough, and with that, I bid you farewell. I hope you watch something else I made. Bye!